book friends, welcome to Biblio Happy Hour, a podcast about bookstores and everything bookish. I'm your host, Victoria Wood. In today's show, we'll be talking to Claire Benedict, and she's from Bear Pond Books, located in Montpelier, Vermont. Today's episode is brought to you by Biblio Finder, a new online directory for independent bookstores. Biblio Finder allows users to find independent bookstores worldwide based on your current or planned location. If you love the show and what we're doing over on Biblio Finder, and you want to help us support local independent bookstores, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/bibliofinder. When you become a patron, you're helping us to list, advertise, and promote local independent bookstores worldwide. You'll also get perks such as access to our full podcast episodes, behind-the-scenes content, an opportunity to send in questions, get discount codes, shoutouts, plus more. That's patreon.com/bibliofinder. We'll also leave a link in the show details. Before we get started with today's episode, wherever you're listening, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a rating and review. When you do this, you're helping us to reach a much larger audience, and it is one way you can help us to put independent bookstores at the forefront and make Biblio Finder plus the show a success. Alrighty guys, let's talk with our guest. Claire, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Biblio Happy Hour.
Thank you, Victoria.
We're so happy to have you here. So really quick, are you a coffee or a tea person?
Tea, absolutely.
Oh yeah? What's your favorite tea?
Oh, I'm kind of an Irish breakfast fan.
Oh, okay. I like English breakfast, but Irish breakfast is good too.
Pretty close.
Yep, pretty close indeed. So tell us about your bookstore, where you're located, and share a bit about your town.
Well, Bear Pond Books is located in Montpelier, Vermont. We have been here since 1973. I am not the original owner. I'm co-owner with my husband now, and we purchased the store in 2006 from the original owner.
Okay.
And we're a general interest bookstore. We have 2 floors. The second floor is a children's section, which is a great big open space for kids to sprawl out and hang out in. And we kind of do the full general interest bookstore thing. We've got a lot of cookbooks. We've got a lot of Vermont history. We've got a lot of mystery and fiction. And so we've pretty much got all the top hits.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Where is your bookstore located in your town? Are you in a downtown area? What's in your surrounding area? And what makes your town so special?
We're right downtown. In fact, we're kind of in the heart of downtown. We're at the corner of State and Main Street, which is just right as central of a downtown as it sounds. It's a small town in the state capital, Montpelier. That's the country's smallest state capital. Okay. Also, the only state capital without a Burger King or a McDonald's in it.
Wow.
Those are the claims to fame. It's a town of about 8,000 people, so it's pretty small for a state capital, but it's because it's the capital, it kind of has this bustling downtown that kind of belies the size of our population. So we're right in the center of it all, and it's a great spot to be in.
Okay, that sounds really amazing, and we all love a nice little cozy downtown, especially when you're free from chains and you actually have, local restaurants, coffee shops, and a great bookstore.
Yeah, it's nice. People love, we get a lot of visitors in Montpelier, a lot of out-of-towners, and people are just like, oh, it's so nice to be in a real downtown. And sometimes we have customers say, do you really live here? Like, it's such a, there's no strip mall and there's no traffic. So it's really kind of a charming town. So it's a hit usually with the visitors.
Oh, for sure. It sounds that way. Absolutely. So I noticed you mentioned that the original store was opened in 73, but you took over in 2006. That sounds like this store has a whole lot of history. How did you end up in this, this whole bookstore business in 2006?
Well, my husband and I and our kids moved to Montpelier in 2002, and we bought a used bookstore in the town that was for sale, an already established business. And we ran that for a couple of years, and then we were approached by the owners of Bear Pond Books, where they were ready to retire, and to see if we were interested in buying, and we did. So for a while we had 2 stores. We even had a 3rd location for a little while, and then in more recent years we started consolidating down to 1, just because it makes our lives a lot easier.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it sounds like it was quite busy at first, you know, the used bookstore, then Bear Pond, and a 3rd location. When you told your friends and family that, you know, okay, we're going to get in the bookstore business, I mean, what was their reaction? Was this something you had planned?
Well, when you tell people that you're moving to Vermont to open a bookstore, some people think that's just like a dream come true. And
right.
And then there's other people who think, you're crazy. So, and it turns out to be a little bit of both at all times. And it's been very nice because we did buy 2 established stores, and that makes it a lot easier to step in and keep things going rather than starting from scratch. And as you said, it is Bear Pond Books has been in the community for a long time. It's got a very good reputation and a very loyal following. So that certainly made it really easy for us to step in and take over.
Okay. I mean, it just sounds picture perfect to me. You know, the downtown area sounds small and quaint, and you moved into this new small town and started a bookstore, and yeah, it really does sound magical to me. It's amazing. I love it. Okay, so we're going to shake things up with a quick fire question session. So I'm going to give you 2 options, and then you're going to choose the one you prefer the most. But some people do choose 2, so if you're in a sticky position, we understand. So fiction or nonfiction books for you? What do you prefer?
Fiction.
Short stories or poetry?
Short stories.
Oh, okay. Well, we did the coffee or tea. Are you a morning reader or a night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. Pizza or tacos?
Both?
Okay. I know that one's a tough one. It's always hard getting over pizza or tacos. And our last one would be life on the beach or life in the mountains. Now, I know Vermont says quite a bit, but life on the beach or life in the mountains?
That's a tough one. I think in my heart, I'm a beach girl, but I've become a mountain girl. But I'm going to go beach.
You're going to go beach? Okay.
Yeah.
Beach sounds
because I'm going to get back there one day.
Yeah, true. Eventually. For sure. Okay. So switching back over to the bookstore. There's a little thing I want to pick with you right now about some individuals saying, well, I can get this book cheaper online, you know? So they'll come into the store, they might browse, they might see something they like, they might snap a photo or 2, you know, showrooming, essentially using the physical bookstore as a showroom to only buy it later online because they can get it cheaper. You know, how do you handle that if you experience that at all? And what would you want to say to someone who has that sentiment?
Well, there's not really much we can do about it. People have their phones out for all kinds of reasons all the time now, so we can't really police what people are doing.
No, and you shouldn't.
They leave our store, what their intentions are.
Right.
We try to make the buying experience in our store positive enough. We have a great staff. We make great suggestions. We have interesting displays. We have a very popular staff picks table. So we just try to make it enticing enough that people won't want to do that. But there are going to be people who do that, who are only care about the bottom line and spending the least amount of money. And, all you can say to people is, like, if you want stores to stay, if you want your stores in your downtown and you want a dynamic downtown and you want a bookstore in your community, you have to support them. That we all know that the money spent at a local bookstore stays in the community much more. Right. Has a much greater ripple effect than shopping online. And so are you community minded about your spending habits or not?
Right. I think ultimately you're right. That's exactly what it comes down to. Are you more community minded or are you more focused on your bottom line?
And there's times when, that everybody needs to make that decision. I can't say that I've never bought anything online.
Oh, no.
But,
right.
Obviously.
Yeah, we all have.
It's an attitude, and it's your habits, and hopefully most of the time you're going supporting your local businesses and your neighbors and community.
Absolutely.
And your city. I mean, its taxes go to your city. It helps you ultimately too.
No, I agree. And more than anything, I don't want to book shame anyone or judge anyone for their choices, because ultimately it's theirs. I think it's more of just making individuals aware, reminding them that, we're social beings and you do want to get out. And if you want, like you mentioned, a beautiful downtown, a dynamic downtown, when your family and friends come to town, you can say, hey, let's go downtown, and you show them around. If you want all that, you do have to make a conscious effort to support your local businesses. And in this case, we're talking about books, so support your local bookstore.
Everybody likes having a bookstore in the town.
Oh, absolutely. Trust me. I love having a bookstore in the town where you're living. It just changes everything. And also, I love the opportunity it affords to socialize and meet other book people. And if you're fortunate to have an author come to town, or a local author, it's just great to socialize, meet new people, get your book signed. And also, the one thing bookstores have that you don't really get online is excellent book recommendations.
Yes, definitely. We do a lot of that. Our customers love a lot of help, especially in the children's room. We give a lot of suggestions, and our staff is very well versed and always has a lot of opinions, because there are a whole bunch of good readers.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're working in a bookstore, I want to feel you love reading, or you love books, and you love the interaction. And that's a thing, you can go online and search for a book and you can buy it. But afterwards, what do? You read this book. It's great. I had a guest on the show, my last episode, and he had mentioned that Amazon and online, they're good search engines, but they're not good for browsing, so he gave me a good joke. He was like, oh, you bought Harry Potter 1, so then that means you're going to want Harry Potter 2. Like, yeah, that one's obvious, but it's it's not always the case when you're trying to find something else in that genre, or something dynamic. So that's something beautiful that bookstores offer, and it's the ability to get amazing recommendations from people who actually read the book.
Right. And I think people do really appreciate that. They really enjoy just kind of poking around. And it's not the same when, a computer is telling you what to buy.
Exactly.
A real life person is making suggestions. It's like directly to you, or through a display, or, just where they are in the store.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But on the note of reading, are you personally reading anything right now?
Well, I just finished a book that I really enjoyed, a new book. It's called The 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna,
Ooh.
Which is this great epic family saga that starts in Calabria in 1919 and goes through present day about this woman, Stella Fortuna. And it's told by her granddaughter, who's looking back, who's got this crazy Nona who, is a little off and doesn't really speak English, never really in this country, and she doesn't really know her story. And then she learns her story and finds out there's a lot more to this woman than just like a batty old grandma.
Right. Okay.
And it's just kind of a lush story. I mean, you have Italy, like who doesn't love to read about
absolutely.
Italy, and intrigue and really strong female characters who lived in a difficult patriarchal world.
Right. Wow.
Just a good story. I'm recommending it to a lot of people. I think it's going to be a popular one.
Well, I'm going to be adding it to my reading list and listing it in the show details so people can get their hands on it. It sounds amazing. What is your go-to reading genre? Like, if you were just to pick something off the fly, what genre do you tend to pick up the most?
I'm definitely like the contemporary fiction, always reading what the new stuff that's coming out.
Right.
And it goes by you all day. You just like, you can't resist being up on what's coming out all the time.
True.
So I read a lot of contemporary fiction, literary fiction, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there are quite a few of us who feel that little pressure sometimes. You see these books and you're like, oh my God, this looks amazing and it's new and you can't help but want to read it. I know I'm guilty of that 100%.
Right. Why is everybody reading this? I need to read it too.
I need to read it too. I don't want to miss out, But are you looking forward to any books this year? Anything upcoming that has caught your eye early?
Yeah, there's a couple. Colson Whitehead has a new book coming out this summer.
Yes, I'm looking forward to
The Nickel Boys.
Yep.
That I actually read an advanced copy of.
Oh,
and it is
that's amazing.
Just incredible. Masterful. I can't even believe how good a writer he is. And
wow.
It's a really, really moving story. It's difficult, he tackles difficult stories, but difficult topics, but
right.
He tells it so beautifully that you can handle it. And I'm looking forward to that. And I think Ta-Nehisi Coates has a novel coming out this fall that should be really interesting.
Yes.
We know him as a nonfiction writer, and he's so good at that. And I'm curious to see what he does with a novel.
Yep. I remember the cover release was a big thing, I think. And
right, yeah.
I don't remember the title right now, but I know exactly the book you're talking about, and I remember everyone was just hyped about the cover release. But definitely, you're the second person again on the show to recommend the Nickel Boys, but I had it down. It's something I'm looking forward to. Did you happen to read his previous novel, The Underground Railroad? I think that was it. Yeah.
I never did, but
neither
now
have
I need to.
No, but that's the thing. I want to read it now. Because a few people...
Well, it was one I just kept not getting to, and now that I've read this one, I was like, oh my goodness.
Now you're backtracking.
What was I thinking?
No, I saw a few individuals who also read advanced copies who love the Nickel Boys. They're backtracking to the Underground Railroad. I just picked up the Underground Railroad, so I'm hoping maybe I can get to it before the Nickel Boys is out. Who knows? I'll see. But I'm very excited for it. And yeah, I think there's some amazing books coming out this year, so there's a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely.
So, back to the bookstore business. What would you say is your biggest challenge, but also what do you love the most about being a bookseller?
Well, the biggest challenge is probably competing with online sales.
Okay.
And, vast loss leader discounts that are used there. What is my favorite thing? I think because I get to talk about books all day. And I get to learn about books, and I get to order new books and find out about what's coming out, and just talk about books with people, the customers, the staff, and everybody. You tend to be around really well-read people.
Yeah. And
so it's definitely a very positive environment for a bookworm to be living in.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And if someone out there listening to this podcast or browsing our pages and they're like, man, my town doesn't have a bookstore, I want to open a bookstore, what advice would you give to someone who's interested in opening an independent bookstore in their town?
Well, I have first do it. And second, a really practical advice would be to contact the ABA, which is the American Booksellers Association,
okay,
because they have a lot of programs for people who want to open a store. And they have trainings, they have all kinds of programs, and they can help you with all the basics and get started, which I think is really essential if you're new to the business.
Right. Okay, so 1, do it, and 2, sign up for the ABA and check out their programs and services. Yeah,
because you need to do it. You need to do it right. You can't just open a store and everybody's going to come. It's not that easy, but it can be done. I mean, look around your community, see what's needed, where there isn't a bookstore, where there is the population and the foot traffic, and go for it.
Absolutely. Sounds like some pretty sound advice. And lastly, in 1 sentence or 2 or 3, because I realized people were struggling with this 1 sentence business, but what would you like everyone to know about you and your bookstore and your town? What would you want people to know?
Well, we're a great, well-established bookstore in an adorable little town that's totally worth a visit, and you should come and visit us.
Yep, so whether you're local, whether you're looking for somewhere to go this summer, it sounds like Montpelier is great.
It's beautiful in Vermont in the summer, so
yep.
Come on and visit.
So see, there you go. So if you're looking for somewhere to visit, or you're just looking for an amazing bookstore in a nice, quaint, quiet little town, head on over to Montpelier, Vermont, and make sure you visit Bear Pond Books. Thank you so much, Claire, for coming on the show. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, Victoria. It was fun.
I agree. It was really, really, really fun. Alrighty, guys, that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and special thanks to Claire Benedict from Bear Pond Books for coming on the show. I will leave all the links for Bear Pond Books in the show details so you can connect with them. Don't forget to follow Biblio Finder and Biblio Happy Hour on social media and sign up for our newsletters. To listen to full episodes of our podcast, get behind-the-scenes content, weekly business updates, perks, and more, head on over to patreon.com/bibliofinder. And wherever you're listening, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. When you do this, you're helping us to reach a larger audience, and it is one way you can help us to put independent bookstores at the forefront and make Biblio Finder plus the show a success. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to talking to you on our next show.